went to Riverside Mall last Tuesday around 8 p.m. to return something at Target. I'd been there 100 times, knew it closed at 9, figured I had plenty of time. The parking lot was almost empty when I pulled in, maybe a dozen cars scattered around, which was normal for a weeknight. I grabbed my receipt, walked through the main entrance, and that's when things got weird. Because the mall was closed, all the stores had their gates pulled down, lights off, that metal grating you see when everything's shut for the night. But the mall itself was lit up. Bright, fluorescent lights, music playing from the speakers, and people walking around. Lots of people, shopping, carrying bags, talking, acting like everything was normal. I stood there confused, checking my phone. 8:07 p.m. The mall shouldn't be closed yet, but it was. Except it wasn't, because people were shopping. I walked further in, trying to make sense of it. The stores were definitely closed. Gates down, darkness inside. But people were walking past them like they didn't notice. A woman stood in front of a locked clothing store, looking at the mannequins in the window, holding shopping bags from that same store. Bags that shouldn't exist because the store was closed. I walked up to her, was about to ask what was going on, when I noticed her clothes. Outdated, like really outdated. She was wearing low-rise jeans and a bedazzled top, the kind of stuff people wore in the early 2000s. Her hair was in those crunchy curls everyone did back then. I looked at the other shoppers. Same thing. Their clothes were old. Not vintage, not retro fashion. Just old. Styles from 20 years ago. The music playing from the mall speakers was old too. Songs I remembered from high school. Hits from 2004, 2005. I stopped walking, just stood there in the middle of the corridor, trying to process what I was seeing. The mall looked right. Same layout, same stores, same food court in the distance. But everything felt wrong. The air was weird, kind of stale and heavy. The lighting was too bright, too harsh. And the people moved strangely. Not quite right. Their movements were smooth but off somehow, like watching a video that's been slightly slowed down. I decided to leave. Whatever this was, I didn't want to be part of it. I turned around, headed back toward the entrance I'd come through. But when I got there, the doors were gone. Just a wall. Solid wall where the entrance should be. I touched it. Real. Concrete and drywall. I walked along it, looking for the doors, but there was nothing. Just wall. My heart started beating faster. This didn't make sense. I'd walked through those doors 5 minutes ago. I went to the next nearest exit. Same thing. Wall. No doors, no exit signs. Just corridors leading back into the mall. I pulled out my phone to call someone, but there was no service. 0 bars. Wi-Fi showed the mall's network but wouldn't connect. I tried anyway, desperate, but nothing would load. I was alone in a closed mall that was somehow open, filled with people from 20 years ago, with no way out. I started walking faster, checking every exit I could find. Food court entrance? Wall. North entrance by the movie theater? Wall. Every single exit had been replaced with solid wall. But the people around me didn't seem to notice or care. They kept shopping at closed stores, carrying bags, talking to each other, completely oblivious. That's when I walked past a mirror. One of those full-length mirrors outside a department store. I glanced at my reflection and stopped. Stared. Because the person looking back at me was older. Not drastically, but noticeably. More wrinkles around the eyes. Gray in my hair that wasn't there this morning. I looked like I'd aged 10 years. I touched my face. My reflection touched back. Same movements, but the face was older. I backed away from the mirror, breathing hard. And that's when I saw him. A teenage kid, maybe 16, standing near the pretzel stand, staring at his reflection in a window. He looked terrified. I walked over. "Hey," I said. "Are you okay? Do you see it too?" He turned to me. "I'm 28, he said. "But in the reflection, I'm a kid. I look like I did in high school." We stared at each other. He asked how long I'd been here. I said maybe 15 minutes. He said he'd been here for an hour. Came in around 7 p.m., same as me. Stores were closed, but people were shopping. Couldn't find the exits. He'd been trying to get out ever since. We decided to stick together, figure this out. His name was Marcus. He pulled out his phone, showed me the date. March 14th, 2024. Same as mine. But when he opened his photos, they were different. Pictures from years ago. His photo library had reset to 2015. Mine had too. Every photo from the last 9 years was gone. We walked through the mall together, looking for service corridors, employee areas, anything that might lead out. The shoppers ignored us. We tried talking to them, but they wouldn't respond, just walked past like we weren't there. Marcus tried to grab one woman's arm to get her attention, and his hand went right through her. Not like a ghost, just like she wasn't solid, like she was a projection or a memory. We found a service door near the loading docks. It was unlocked. Marcus pushed it open, and we both stepped through. The hallway on the other side was concrete and dim, lined with boxes and equipment. Normal service corridor. We followed it, hoping it would lead to a real exit. It curved, went up some stairs, and ended at another door. Marcus opened it. We stepped through, and we were back in the mall. Same spot we'd started. The service door had looped us back. We tried again. Same result. Every door we went through brought us back to the main mall. It was like the building had folded in on itself, every exit leading back inside. Marcus was starting to panic. He'd been here longer than me, and the reality of being trapped was hitting him. We sat down on a bench near the fountain, trying to think. That's when I noticed the stores were different. Not all of them, but some. A Blockbuster Video that I knew had closed in 2010. A Radio Shack. Stores that didn't exist anymore. And the ones that were still around looked wrong, like older versions of themselves. The Target I'd come to return something to? It was there, but the logo was the old one from the 90s. Everything was shifting, becoming more and more like the past. I checked my wallet, pulled out my driver's license. The date was wrong. Issued in 2003. My cards had old dates too. Credit cards I'd gotten years ago that should be expired. They looked new, like I'd just received them. Marcus checked his wallet. Same thing. Old dates, old cards. He had a receipt from earlier today, March 14th, 2005. Not 2024, 2005. "We're not in the present anymore," he said. "We're in the past, or the mall is, or I don't know. But we're not where we're supposed to be." We kept searching. Hours passed, or what felt like hours. Time was weird, hard to track. The shoppers around us never left, never changed. Same people doing the same things in an endless loop. A woman trying on sunglasses at a kiosk. A couple arguing near the escalators. A kid crying while his mom dragged him past the toy store. Over and over. The same actions. Marcus noticed it first, pointed it out. We were watching loops, echoes of shoppers from 20 years ago, still playing out their routines. I found another mirror and looked again. I was younger now, not older like before. I looked like I did in college, early 20s, scared and confused, but definitely younger. Marcus looked older, had to be in his 40s. The mall was changing us, pulling us toward different times, making us match whenever we were, or had been. It was hard to tell. We found a directory board near the center of the mall, looked at the map, trying to find any area we'd missed. That's when I saw it. A small corridor marked Maintenance, Lower Level. We'd been on the main floor the whole time. There was a lower level. We found the stairs, went down. It was darker here, colder. Storage rooms and offices, abandoned. Dust everywhere, like no one had been down here in years. We checked every door until we found one marked Emergency Exit. It wasn't locked. Marcus pushed it open. Bright light flooded in. We stepped through. We were outside. Real outside. The parking lot. Normal. Cars, street lights. The night air hit us and it felt real, cold, fresh. We ran. Didn't look back. Just ran to my car. I fumbled with my keys, got the door open. We both jumped in. I started the engine and drove. Out of the parking lot, onto the main road, putting distance between us and that mall. We drove for maybe 10 minutes before pulling over to catch our breath. Marcus checked his phone. March 14th, 2024. Right date now. Full service. His photo library was back to normal. My phone was the same. Everything had reset. Like nothing happened. Except when I checked my wallet, I found the receipt. The one Marcus had shown me earlier. From 2005. It was still there. Old, faded, dated 19 years ago. And my reflection in the rearview mirror. I looked like me again. Right age. But when I really focused, I could see traces. The wrinkles I'd had in that first mirror. The younger face from the second one. Layered somehow. Like I'd existed at multiple ages at the same time, and my face couldn't quite decide which one was real. Marcus left to go home. I haven't heard from him since. I tried calling, but his number doesn't work anymore. I drove past Riverside Mall yesterday, during the day this time. It looked normal. People going in and out, stores open, everything fine. But I didn't go inside. Won't ever go inside again. Because I know what it is now. The mall isn't just a building. It's a loop. A trap that catches people at the wrong time, pulls them into the past or some version of it, and doesn't always let them go. I got out because I found that service door. Marcus got out because he was with me. But how many people didn't get out? How many shoppers in that loop are real people, trapped, walking the same corridors forever? I don't know. Don't want to know. All I know is the mall was closed, but I walked into yesterday. And part of me is still there. Walking, searching, trying to find an exit that leads somewhere other than back inside.